Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 6 of SoCal Hockey Hotline podcast. I'm Dave Walker, hockey manager at Great Park Ice, along with our other hockey managers, John Meinberger, Vince Vias, Dean Wilson. And today we have two of our adult coordinators here, Brad Sherrick from Great Park Ice and Darren Ong from Westminster Ice, here to help kind of break down some of the things we're dealing with and going through with our adult hockey department right now, going through this kind of shutdown, and give our adult customers out there a little bit of an idea of what we're dealing with. So Brad, Darren, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
First things first, guys. I'll start with Brad. What's new and how you've been through this shutdown?
Well, trying to communicate with the captains. We just had a couple of captains meetings via Zoom. That went pretty well. It was good to see their faces. Obviously, it's been a while since I've seen any of my players. So I know that they've trickled down information to their teams. They appreciated the communication. But just trying to stay in touch with people and let them know as questions come in, try to answer the questions. So personally, it's going okay, but I'm definitely missing, at the rink, seeing the players and watching hockey.
When you guys were talking about doing a Zoom call, Brad, we were concerned how you're going to fit 100 faces on the Zoom call, and then you guys realized you're going to have to break it down in chapters. That's an issue that other facilities aren't going to have to deal with. But with Great Park, that was something that needed to be talked about. So
yeah, it worked out really, really well, and the turnout was better than expected. So that was nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Darren, how about you? How are things going over at Westminster and with your department there?
Everything's going really well. A lot like what Brad said, we're checking in with captains and trying to get out as much communication as we get in. It's really good to see people's faces, like Brad was saying. And, after a month plus without hockey, we started doing some other things. We did some happy hour Zoom calls. That ended up being like 2 hours, which was really fun. And then we did like one game night over Zoom, which was pretty fun. I hope to get a little bit more in there and not have people get tired of us. We want to see them and check in every once in a while, but we don't want to, overstep or anything like that. So it's been a lot of fun and checking in with everybody and giving them some updates, and it's been good.
Yeah, I know that was a big game changer when you did the happy hours. So I thought that was great. And that's what I kind of did with my coaches too, like the youth coaches, and they loved it. So great job with that.
I think it's a cool time for us, right? Like our other podcasts are always kind of been a little bit geared towards our youth perspective, our youth side of the business. And, for people that might not know, adult is such a big part of what we do and such a big part of our facilities. So it's cool to get everyone on here and kind of dive through and talk a little about what we do on the other side. I guess you can say a little bit of after hours in our facility. So it's great to have you guys out and, have a little conversation, see where it goes. I think one of the big things to start off is just where do you think hockey is pre this COVID-19 situation? And then where do you think it is currently? I know you guys said you had some of these meetings, so there's some questions probably that came up or have been asked, and maybe we can kind of brush through a few of those now for any listeners that weren't a part of your meetings, because I know it was more captains based, so other participants in any of our leagues. So yeah, anyone want to? It's open for everybody, but the adult guys can jump in on that.
Go ahead, Darren.
So pre-COVID.
Yeah. Well, I think that through right now, I think what the Rinks is doing is great in Great Park. They're really pivoting a lot of things from having people in the ice facilities and the roller facilities to being at home and training at home. When you guys have your videos on that, this podcast is something that really came out of, that pivot. And I think that for me, at least, I've been listening, and it's been great to see you guys and kind of hear the state of hockey in California. But I think that, a lot of adult players are just itching to play, and they're just, none of the ice is available, so they're out there on dry land training, skating a little bit on their rollerblades, and it's been really cool to see some social media on that. and it's good to see them staying fit. So that's kind of what I'm seeing right now, and I think that this whole program of at-home hockey has been really great.
I know I'm itching. I want to get back on the ice for sure.
I guess
Kinda
that's the
nervous,
second
though.
part of this panel. A lot of us play. I mean, Dave Walker had one game in adult league, so we consider him an adult league player. But
Yeah.
we're all itching to get back out there as well.
Favorite
You know,
team, right, Dave?
with me at Great Park, there's 3 questions that came up all the time, and we were able to answer those 3 questions. Number 1, when are we going to reopen? Okay, well, we don't know yet. Number 2, what's going to happen to the current season we were already in? There's some teams that had 4 games to go, some had 7 games to go. We made it very clear that the season will be finished, period. Whenever we come back, we're going to finish the season. And then 3, what's going to happen with next season? And I made that clear that until we have a reopen date, we don't know what's going to happen when the next season is going to start. We've got to decide what to do as far as that goes. But at least that let them know, the biggest thing, honestly, was, are we going to finish the season? Are you going to refund our money? Are we going to play games? And everybody, gets the word now that we're going to play the games. And you know what? The feedback, I mean, there hasn't been grumbling at all. I've had 2 players that have moved out of state. And honestly, that's really about it.
Yeah, I could agree with you, Brett. It's interesting how quiet it's kind of been, and how accepting I think adults kind of process the scenario of this situation. And as much as they're eager to get back on the ice, there hasn't been too much. There's been concern, but everyone's been pretty open-minded on the realities that we're facing now, and then what we need to face to get people back in the ice.
I think a big thing too is they use it as kind of like a little escape, right? They love playing the game, so they come back and they want to play. Like that's kind of helps them get through. Life too.
Yeah,
right?
they go to work. They get off a long day's work. They look forward to that.
Yeah.
Adult league
So, Brad,
game, whatever sport it is, they look forward to that.
Yeah, exactly.
You've been a part of adult hockey for longer than everyone else on this panel. Do you want to kind of tap into where it kind of started, at least from your perspective, and then where it is now, just in the growth of it, and then what do you think has been part of that growth?
Well, I've been interviewed a few times in my career about that same subject, about growth of hockey in Southern California, and it all comes from one word: Gretzky. I don't think if Gretzky hadn't have come to the Kings and exploded hockey in Southern California, I'm not so sure the Mighty Ducks would have ever happened. So you have Gretzky coming here, and then obviously '93 the Ducks start playing, and at that point the growth of hockey just went crazy. The rinks have done a fantastic job of opening up rinks everywhere, reopening some rinks that had been closed in the past. But it really comes down to that right there. The amount of teams and players that Southern California has right now is incredible compared to 17 years ago when I started doing this, or even 26 years ago when I started playing. I started playing in '92, so I was 26 when I started playing. So unfortunately, not quite where you guys were, but it's amazing. It's amazing where it's come from.
Brad,
Yeah, I could agree.
Brad, speaking of amount of players, how was the transition from your Belinda 1 sheet to Great Park 4 sheets?
it was overwhelming at first. I mean, you know me from your Belinda, and I like to know every single player I have.
Yep.
And I'm working on that in Great Park, obviously, but man,
It's a challenge to know every captain.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've got 4 times as many captains as I did in Yorba Linda. But you know what? It's been awesome. It's the same people. It's the same great hockey people, whether it's Yorba Linda or it's Great Park. It's still great hockey people. And that's one thing that I miss, is being around the guys. You guys play. You guys know your team. You miss being around the guys. Well, I miss being around 90 teams of guys, or gonna be 100 and 108, I think, next season, whenever next season happens to be. So I just miss being around the guys.
Yeah, I think what's a big difference between the youth and adult hockey, right, is I think with youth, sometimes kids are introduced to this sport from their parents. I think with the adult league, you have the individual making the decision to come, so it's a little bit different. It's not as much of selling the sport on them. They've grown up around it. They've grown interest and they've either grown a love for the game or raised playing hockey and want to get back into playing. And I think one of the big things that's helped across all the rinks is the adult learn to plays that we have. And I know at Great Park we see a lot of our rookie league coming from that learn to play. So I definitely think that's really been has had a huge impact in that overall growth.
Yeah,
The learn to play was huge. Even going back to Your Belinda, that's what started Your Belinda's rookie 6 years ago. It was all learn to play. We had back-to-back learn to play of 50 and 55 skaters, and out of the 105 skaters, we had 60 plus goalies sign up, and we had 4 teams right there just off the bat. So learn to play has been huge for adult hockey in rookie, which then became in some rinks a 10 division. Came out of nowhere because of the amount of rookies coming into the league, and then they have the copper above that. But to your point, as far as where youth comes from, adult and the lower level, it's the exact opposite. A lot of these new players in rookie are playing because their kids play.
Yeah,
So
that's what Hutchie was
parents.
touching on.
So
Hutchie was touching on when we asked him, the essence of learn to play and where it all started from. He said adult learn to play says it was merely based off the parents would come to the rink, they'd watch their kids in these programs, and he would say, hey, I want to get out there.
Yep.
And so then that's kind of how it all steamrolled and happened, and now it looks what it looks like today. Hey, Darren, I think you have something to touch on that. You came from our adult learn to play. And now you're obviously in a coordinator role. So maybe you can touch on from the player perspective of coming into the sport, coming into adult learn to play, what impact it has, and, what brings people to try hockey at that level, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fill in the blanks.
I don't have kids, but, I worked with the Ducks and fan development when they were kind of building their programs to get more hockey built in California, and kind of a part of that, and seeing those kids play and enjoy learn to play sessions and all that. I was like, that's exactly what I felt was I want to get out there and I want to try it. And after a couple of years, I got the nerve to go out there and do a learn to play over at Lakewood. And I learned from some great coaches. And I think that's where learn to play success really kind of comes from. Great coaching, great staff that's working the program to help fit everybody with equipment and get the right side stick. Some people are left-handed, but they don't even know it. So it was, for me to go through that and play for the 3 or 4 years that I've been playing, I've learned a lot. I felt like a kid, and in a good way, that I'm learning something new. And I think that, with adults, it's kind of a psychological barrier that, you can't learn something new. And with adult learn to play, it's just cool because it's really risk-free. And you just go in and you get all the equipment, you get sticks, and you get some instruction, and all of a sudden you're off to the races and you're loving the sport. And I think that's what happens with, youth learn to play, and to transfer that over to adults, and to see adults watch the little ones play, and the little ones watch the adults. It's been really cool to see the development, especially at a small rink like Westminster. We only have one sheet, so everybody's watching everyone, and it's a lot of buzz. And then people are asking, hey, when's the next learn to play? Or, hey, when's the next opportunity to get out there and do what they're doing? So, we've been pointing a lot of people to the website and the Learn to Play website to sign up, and sometimes there's wait lists, and you can't wait to get back out there. But that Learn to Play and the coaching sessions at clinics that John used to run. Those were super helpful. I can't say that he taught me everything correctly, but it's definitely been good. I'm just kidding. But, like all the coaches and the staff and the marketing staff, it takes a village. And I think that, Learn to Play is a great culmination of all that. And once you get into our hands with Brad and I, coordinating all that stuff, it becomes a really cool community to be a part of. And, I'm really happy with our community at Westminster. We're actually, pretty close, a lot like Brad was saying, but not on that scale at Park.
Yeah, awesome. I think one of the cool things is, from a coaching perspective, when you do adult Learn to Play, is the passion, right? The passion for these adults to come into the sport. And like Dave was kind of touching on, like they're choosing to be out there, right? It's not like, a parent's guiding a child or, influencing their decision. Hey, like I love hockey. Let's get out there and try this. Like they're like throughout their busy day, they're like, you know what? I want to embark on this journey. I want to go try hockey. So when they go on the ice, they're just so excited and so passionate and just like they want to just embark on that journey. So I think it's really cool to see people jump into adult hockey.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys. So obviously you guys are two different facilities. Obviously there's a size facilities are a huge factor in both, but what kind of, challenges do you each have at each facility? I think it'd be interesting to hear from one 4-sheet facility to a 1-sheet to kind of see what similarities, if any, in terms of challenges that you both kind of face within the program.
Brad, I'll let you start.
Appreciate that. Challenges. Wow. I think the biggest challenge, well, it sounds kind of weird, but the biggest challenge that I've had pre our break here is not being able to grow even more than we already are, which sounds really weird. The last 2 seasons, we've been limited on amount of teams we could have at the rink, and we've had other teams trying to get in. So for me, that's the biggest challenge is, we have certain cutoff levels and we've got to stick by those cutoff levels. We don't have the extra ice time until now, we have a lot of youth at Great Park. We have the junior Ducks, the Lady Ducks, we have high school, we have college, and a lot of coaching stuff going on as well. Not to mention a pretty good sized figure skating program, and
curling.
and curling, man. Don't forget curling. So that's been a challenge for me is wanting to always grow. I always want to grow the program and being limited, but I know that even going back to your Belinda with Dean, that we were limited there too. We ran out of ice time that we could use. So I don't even know if that matters which size facility you are. As long as things are going well in the hockey community and growing, you reach that level to where you get stuck. A 90 team schedule is always fun to deal with as well.
It's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Make sure you hold a spot for Sharman, all right?
So yeah. You got it. Trying to be fair and different teams have different wishes. And I try to do everything I can to make everything work and everybody, happy. I can't always do that, obviously, but I try to. So that's a challenge as far as scheduling goes. But that's really it. I mean, I love what I do, and I don't know. That's it.
I could jump in for a lot of people that might not know. I did adult. I was in adult school for a little bit as well. That was a big part of how I transitioned to where I'm now. I think for me, and the experience that I have is, league parity. Right. I think that's always an issue to some extent because there's different variables on why people play with their friends, or, we've had times where younger fellows want to play with their dad, or people kind of embark on different challenges and they limit their perception of where their skills at. Some want to win, some want the t-shirts. That's the big thing, right? T-shirts are rad. And, so I think that's always a challenge, is to find teams and find people that want to play within their scope. And so parity becomes one of the bigger issues, at least that I've seen. It's never a perfect science. You're going to have good teams and you're going to have bad teams. It's always tough to talk to the team that's getting smoked about why they're getting smoked. But ultimately, everyone on this panel knows that they kind of decide where they fall in the division scope. We could help guide them, but ultimately, if you feel you're a silver team, we'll give you a go. Give it a go and see what happens. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges that I've seen, is just overall league parity sometimes can be an issue when you're dealing with so many people and with 100 teams.
Excellent point. Excellent point.
I think at Westminster, it's been really tough on the parity side, because we have one sheet and so much ice time, through the week, that there's not enough room to have a silver, or, there's not enough teams just yet to build out. I think the growth has been a positive thing, but some teams want to stay in certain divisions and they're outgrowing their division, and to have those conversations is a little bit tough, but that's a challenge in building trust between the staff and the people playing in the league. And I think it's been going well so far at West, but you're always going to have that challenge of parity, and the more we grow, the more teams you're going to be able to have. But at one facility, a single sheet facility, you can only do so much with the time that you have. But over time, I think it's going to be good. And then you build from rookie to possibly a 10 to a copper, and then add on bronze, and then hopefully West could add on a silver eventually. But it's great to have all these facilities that you can direct people to. Lakewood has silver, I believe. And if people are willing to drive from, our area to Great Park, they have a lot of options there. But, things are full, and it's a good problem to have. But managing it all and trying to communicate all that, it's been a good problem to have. And it's been fun to see people playing on multiple teams. I think that, really shows that people want to improve and grow their game and move up the rankings in the leagues.
I think one of the things we always talk about on this, with the inception of this podcast, is a lot of times customers don't know what goes on the back end. So even the fact that we're talking about parity, or when Brad brings up scheduling, that's always a hot issue, because there are limitations based off people's work. And sometimes they think that we just kind of overlook it and it just brushes over our head, and it's not in our conversations or in our meetings and things that aren't talked about. These topics are definitely stuff that are discussed. It's not a perfect science, and, we can always find ways to be better, but I think it's important for our listeners to know that, all these topics are definitely on the forefront, and we identify them, but coming up with the best solution to combat that is not always the easiest, because there's a ton of different variables, right? So,
yeah, I think another big thing I can add on top of what you guys are talking about is that at least we get across Lakewood and whatnot, is updating the facility, or constantly upkeeping it, just so, because they see all the little things, right? If it's locker rooms, if it's on the benches, if it's little issues in that sort, they'll inform us, and then we relay that to our GMs, and they're doing a great job at, seeing all that stuff and budgeting and planning on fixing a lot of those issues as well. So I think, and also communicating that to the customers and the adult players, they see that and they understand, like, okay, great. And once it's fixed, like, this is awesome. It just kind of keeps them coming back too.
Yeah, I think it goes back to, putting love into the game, and when players feel like they can love the game to their best ability, it's been really good to be able to listen and relay those concerns as a coordinator. And I think that all the rinks have really good coordinators, so if people want to reach out, they can, and if it is a concern, we're always willing to listen. And I think that creates that trust, so that they can really enjoy their time on the ice.
Yeah, exactly.
I think on the flip side, we talked about the challenges. This goes out to the coordinators and I guess everybody else. What are some of the things that, Brad tipped a little bit of it, but what are the things that you love about it? Like, what are the things that bring you to the rink every day? What are the things that, make you passionate about your guys' role within the company?
For me, at least, I played through the system, and I played at multiple rinks. I just love the community that you can make. When you play on a new team, you just meet people and your network grows. And now being a part of that community and being able to serve them, I think that it kind of adds a new perspective. You pay money to play and you expect, X, Y, and Z. But I think that, like you said, they don't always see everything that goes into it, and being able to communicate that back and really show that you're doing everything you can to make everyone happy and to enjoy playing hockey. But it's tough, especially when you get so many different people, playing in one division. I think that to finally make it work and to have people come off the ice and like, oh, that was so fun, or I can't wait for playoffs. To see people working out to get better, it really brings joy to all the hard work that we try to field. All the negative comments that we get, it kind of balances it all out and makes everything kind of worth it. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, like I said before, being around the hockey community, being around the players, and watching hockey, I can go from rink to rink and watch different levels on any given day, which is kind of nice. I haven't played myself in about a year and a half, almost 2 years now. So unfortunately, I'm not on the ice right now. I'm hopefully come the new year, I'll be thinking about getting back on the ice a little bit. But
you and Walker,
not with Sharman, that's for darn sure.
Yeah, I'll be thinking about it.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is takeaways, kind of both of you guys. I think that it's really cool to be around the players and the relationships that you build just being around the rink. Probably not all the adults love me, and maybe the other way around, but you definitely get to see some really cool people and meet some cool and have some really interesting conversations. And it even goes a little further. Like, it's cool that people are coming to the rink just because they want to. There's no money. I mean, there's great T-shirts, so you might get a mug, which is big in some people's eyes, but there's no money involved. Right? We don't know what that feels like, Walks and Dino. You're going out there just to play and just to be a part of the game and just to go out there and, hopefully sweat and not get in too much trouble. But I think that's the coolest thing is all these guys just come in here and they have fun. They're there because they want to take time out of their day to come to the facility at maybe a 10:30 game and go out there and compete and still play a game. So I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I got an example for that. My first week down here, there was a 50-plus game, and I haven't been in San Diego in 18 years. And I see these 8 to 10 guys, and they've been playing together for 18, 20 years. They're still on the same team, same name, everything. So it just goes to show that some of these friendships and hockey brings, it's lifetime. These are the same guys that hang out for a barbecue. I mean, that's what I'm getting from a lot of them. They're calling me, hey, you guys going to open? Can we rent the ice? I mean, they're just going crazy. Because this is where they get a chance, excuse to the wife, girlfriend, or whatever, to go see their friends and hang out for about 4 or 5 hours after the hockey game. So it just goes to show that hockey's more than just drop the puck and play. A lot of these guys have friendships.
Therapeutic.
It's therapeutic. This is a 50-plus league. I knew these guys when they were 28, and they're 49, 50 years old, still playing together. So I think that's a cool aspect.
Someday you'll be old enough to play with them, Dean.
I am. I turned 50 in August. I qualify.
Really?
What Dino didn't tell you, he's already been out there.
Oh, yeah. I've already been out there. I'm the top scorer in the league already. Until I turned 52. So I'm ready for – hey, Brad, you doing Pucks for Bucks this year?
No, unfortunately. It was Memorial Day weekend.
That's a good segment. So. Let's talk about that, Brad. You want to touch on what you guys done in the past? I know that we could also talk about, there's other small little tournaments we've done in Anaheim. So you want to touch on that? We could follow up on that. What you've done in the past and
13 years ago, we started Pucks for Bucks at Yorba Linda, and it Memorial Day weekend, which is always a great weekend because at that point there were no youth tournaments even being played at Yorba Linda. So it was open ice, it was dead ice. And it benefits the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. So, we've had 12 years of hockey. We've raised over $100,000 for the foundation. The people come out every single year. We have from rookie up to elite. We would call it gold, I guess, but we have it called elite in that one. And it's a 3-on-3 tournament. We were scheduled to do it again this year, obviously the 13th year. Because of what's going on, Memorial Day weekend, it's not going to happen, unfortunately. So that's been one tournament that I've put on. I know that, John, you've had your own tournaments that you've done.
Yeah, so we tried to, obviously trying to piggyback off stuff that you've done. We've done our own 3-on-3. We call it Cali Clash, which is just a straight head-to-head, 1-day 3-on-3 event. It's received pretty well. Obviously, there's some challenges trying to embark on learning how to put together a tournament, but nonetheless, it's just a really fun 1-day gig. Everyone can come out, 6 players and a goalie, kind of like a pull and go type style. And at the end of the day, last one standing gets the mini banner, which was just a really fun event. We also had the opportunity to do another 3-on-3 event. It was called Hold'em Hockey, which was a very unconventional take on a 3-on-3 tournament. The win was based off of if you won, you got 3 cards. If you lost, you got 1 card. And then at the end of the tournament, it was based on the best hand, like a poker hand. So it was really cool on that aspect because it took away a lot of, the win or loss. You could literally lose, go 0-5 and win, just because you got the best hand. So it was really cool tournament. And I think the basis of all that stuff was just community. I think throughout this whole conversation, we talk community, but adult has such a big community in all these different facilities. And Darren touched on that. You could play at Lakewood on Monday and then Great Park on Wednesday. And if you're really crazy, you might find another day at another facility. Who knows,
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the adult hockey community and the hockey community overall is just so close. So I think the last thing was, something to say, Dave.
I was just saying, I know seeing how many teams some of these players play on, that's probably the one thing that is, stands out the most to me. We have players at Great Park that play on 3 or 4 different teams, different divisions, obviously, but it just, they just love the game of hockey. They love being around the game of hockey. And I guess when I said it's therapeutic to a lot of people, they wake up and they look forward to that hour and a half, that night of just getting out to hang out with
it's their game day.
Don't forget, it keeps you in shape too.
Yeah, semi-shape.
We forgot
then you got
that.
Taco Bell late at night or something.
Keeps you in a type of shape.
Yeah, type of shape.
Round is a shape, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get some
I
tournaments
guess
over
we're almost at.
Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead. Yeah.
I was just saying we got to get some of those tournaments over at Westminster, and got to pick your brain, John, on how we get that done, and work with Vince to maybe get some cool tournaments going. But I think something worth mentioning is the adult development clinics. I think all the rinks have a really cool setup where on Mondays you can go over to Anaheim and work with Cameron and John. Tuesdays you can go to Lakewood and work with Amber and I think it's Brandon over there.
They're Mondays as well.
Mondays.
They're
Sorry.
No, we're Tuesdays. Yeah, they're flip-flop, but you got it. The days are there.
And then Thursdays, what we're doing at West is we're doing like a little pickup development where
That's huge.
we have a line of rookies that play against each other and a line of tin copper level. And then every 2 minutes you switch lines, and it's really cool to kind of see the fast pace and get them more touches on the puck. And I think that's really important when you're trying to get better at your game and skate around a little bit more, get that 2-minute shift under you. So I think that there's a lot of programs out there that are in development besides the tournaments and besides games that can really get you going for in prep for whatever your goals are for adult hockey.
Absolutely.
Yep, agree.
I think we're about that time. Dave usually has, this interesting question that he tosses your way. So I don't know if you want to go that direction or you got another one in your pocket.
Yeah, we'll keep it going with these guys. So the last 2 episodes we've ended with asking our guests to pick their perfect foursome for for golf. We had players, coaches. So for you guys, pick your perfect foursome, but they have to be retired hockey players. Okay, have to be retired hockey players. This is your perfect foursome. Brad, we'll let you go first. And obviously you're one of them, so you got to pick 3.
Okay, thank you. I was hoping I'd be able to play.
And if we don't like them, you'll be removed from the island.
All right. I would choose Solani, myself and Solani, of course. Gretzky. And I need to have a joker. How about Roenick?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Dino perked up.
Yeah.
I like that one. There'll be some gambling going on the course too.
For sure.
Darren, what do you got?
Oh man, I don't know who plays golf, but I'm pretty sure they all do, right?
Right now they do. Well, they don't. But
Yeah, I'm a big Ducks fan, as you can kind of see my office decor. I would have to say Scotty Niedermayer is probably one that I would love to play golf with. I'm not sure if he plays golf though.
They all do.
Yeah.
It might just be, good time to drink and just hang out and pick their brains a little bit. Second, Chris Pronger seems like a pretty cool guy to hang out with and straight shooter. I think that'd be fun to kind of spend 4 hours on the course with him. Last person. Everybody loves Temu, so I gotta say Temu too. And he's such
He's
a cool
pretty good
guy.
at golf too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
Not from that video that he released, right? Hidden into the water.
Yeah.
And when he announced him coming back for another season. But I think Temu's a guy that's just really down to earth, and I think it'd be cool to spend time with him too.
Nice. Well,
Before you wrap it up, Dave, I just want to say thanks to you guys. Adult coordinators are sometimes a thankless gig. There's a lot that comes into it, good and bad. So we appreciate what you guys do. I know
Definitely.
each manager on here leans on our
Yeah.
coordinators to the utmost to handle the night duties. And a
I
lot
don't know
of
about
the
you.
stuff
I
that comes
get
with
thanked
it.
a lot.
So, well, I just wanted to do it publicly, right? So
Yeah,
then people
it's on the
understand that I
record.
actually, yeah, it's on the record.
it's on the record.
So so now you guys can't take that away. So when you say it next time, I'm going to replay this over and over.
Yeah,
So,
for our
yeah,
1.1 million.
do.
Yeah, our 1.1 million followers are going to hear this.
Once again, just to sum it up, thank you guys. I know every manager probably say the same thing. What you guys do and how big of an impact you are to our business is just unreal, and it's not always the best, and there's ups and downs, but you guys just bring so much to the group and to the team. So
thank you.
Thank you guys for what you do too. I think
Yeah,
this
definitely.
podcast is pretty awesome.
We
Appreciate it.
We
Appreciate
appreciate it. So thank you for joining us here, episode 6. Appreciate all the insight, and I'm sure our customers will as well. To all our customers and viewers, we look forward to seeing all of you next week. We have a few different podcast episodes we're working on right now. So tune in next week to see our next special guest. As we always say, if you have any ideas or guests you'd like to see on here, please email any of our managers on here with some suggestions, and we'll be gladly look into them and see if we can't pull some of those things out to fill some of the questions that you may have. So until next week, stay safe.
see ya.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Yes.
Bye.